It was supposed to be a quiet weekend, a perfect escape from the city. Alex gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white as he navigated the winding dirt road. The headlights cut through a thick, ghostly fog that seemed to swallow the forest whole. Beside him, Maya held their baby, Lucas, close, her soft humming the only sound in the car. Outside, the woods were silent, unnervingly so. It felt like the entire forest was holding its breath, waiting. When they finally arrived, the cabin stood in eerie stillness against the darkening sky. Its windows were like black, vacant eyes, watching their approach. Alex fumbled with the key, and the lock turned with a rusty groan. As the door creaked open, a wave of damp, stale air washed over them, carrying a smell of old wood and something else, something that felt like decay, like the cabin itself had been waiting for them to arrive. They tried to settle in, unpacking their bags and forcing a sense of normalcy, but the feeling of being watched was impossible to shake. It was a prickle on the back of the neck, a constant, unseen gaze that followed them from room to room. That night, after they put Lucas to sleep, a faint, rhythmic tapping started from inside the walls. Maya tried to dismiss it as just the old house settling, or maybe the wind against the siding. But then Lucas began to stir in his crib, his wide, innocent eyes fixed on a dark corner of the room, as if he could see something they couldn't. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. She went downstairs to check the baby monitor, hoping to distract herself. The small screen flickered, the image dissolving into static. Just as she was about to turn it off, a shadow darted across the screen, a tall, distorted silhouette that didn't belong. "Alex," she called out, her voice trembling. The only answer was the suffocating silence of the cabin. Upstairs, the tapping grew louder, more insistent. It was no longer just a tap. It was a scratching, like claws dragging along the inside of the walls. Then came other sounds. The creak of footsteps in the empty hallway, the faint, raspy whisper of breathing that seemed to come from right behind her. Alex, trying to be the voice of reason, insisted it was just the old floorboards in the wind, but Maya knew better. Something was in the cabin with them. By midnight, the air had turned frigid. The cold wasn't just a drop in temperature. It felt invasive, seeping into their bones. Lucas started crying, a piercing, inconsolable wail. Alex rushed to his side to comfort him. He picked up his son, but Lucas didn't look at his father. His tiny head was tilted back, his eyes tracking something moving on the ceiling, something invisible that Alex couldn't see. Suddenly, the lights began to flicker violently, casting long, unnatural shadows that danced and twisted like living things. Whispers erupted from every corner of the room below, hissing sounds that formed words they couldn't quite understand but felt in their very souls. It was pure terror. Clutching Lucas, they bolted from the cabin and ran into the darkness of the woods. But the forest itself seemed to turn against them. The familiar path they had walked just hours before was gone, replaced by a bewildering maze of twisting trees. Then they heard it. Laughter, high-pitched and mocking. A sound that was distinctly not human. Behind them, the cabin door slammed shut with a deafening bang, even though no one was near it. Panic took over. They frantically pulled out their phones, desperate to call for help, but there was no signal. The screens were dead. They were completely and utterly cut off. In the faint moonlight, a figure materialized at the edge of the trees. It was tall and unnaturally thin, its face a blur of shadow. But its eyes glowed with a faint, predatory red, and they were fixed on Lucas. The figure slowly raised a long, spindly hand, and as he did, Lucas's cries twisted into screams of agony, sounds no baby should ever make. With a roar of fury, Alex charged at the figure. But just as he reached it, it vanished into thin air. He spun around, and his heart stopped. In the dark window of the cabin, a reflection showed Lucas. He was standing alone on the porch, but that was impossible. Maya still felt his weight in her arms, yet her arms were empty. She swore she never let him go. They scrambled back to the cabin, bursting through the door. The inside was wrong. The walls seemed to breathe. The floorboards twisted under their feet like serpents, and the furniture was slowly, subtly shifting its position. A mirror in the hallway showed their reflections, But it wasn't them. The faces staring back were pale and gaunt, their eyes hollowed out and black, their mouths frozen in a silent scream of unending horror. And then, just as suddenly as it all began, everything stopped. Complete and total silence fell over the cabin. The only thing left was the baby monitor on the floor, its screen flickering back to life. A soft, clear voice whispered through the speaker, "He's mine now." Alex let out a final, guttural scream, and everything went black. The next morning, a group of hikers stumbled upon the cabin. It was empty. The door was wide open, swaying gently in the breeze. There was no sign of Alex, Maya, or their baby, Lucas. The only thing they left behind was the baby monitor, lying on the porch floor, still crackling with that faint, low whisper, repeating over and over again. "He's mine now."